Welcome everyone to TM Spiritual Knowledge channel. Here is a new story from the accounts of near-death experiences, shared by Mr. Ray Feuerstein. He experienced two near-death events, the first when he was 5 years old, and the second during his teenage years. Hello, my name is Ray Feuerstein, and I have had two near-death experiences. I am now 70 years old. My first experience happened when I was 5. I had scattered my sister's toys in the garden, and my mother asked me to tidy them up. It was around 6 in the evening, close to sunset. After I finished putting everything back, I headed to the door to go inside. As I grabbed the handle, a black wasp that had been hiding behind it stung me behind my right ear. I am not allergic to bee stings, but I do have an allergy to wasps, as their venom is different. The black wasp is the most dangerous. I went inside to tell my mother what had happened. She and my sister were in the living room. When they saw me, they were shocked because my face had swollen up. I was experiencing a severe allergic reaction and had gone into anaphylactic shock. My father was not home that day, so they called the police. The officers arrived and put me in the back seat of their car. The last thing I remember is the officer asking, "Do you want to hear the siren?" I said yes, and then I died. It took about 5 minutes to reach the hospital. They placed ice packs on my body to reduce the swelling and injected me with epinephrine to counter the allergic reaction. They tried to restart my heart, but despite all their efforts, they couldn't. I was declared dead in the emergency room. After that, I found myself in a tunnel resembling a whirlwind, a vortex of black and grey. I was at its edge as it spun silently. Then I arrived at a place engulfed in darkness, with tiny bright white dots resembling starry night lights in a child's room. As I got closer, I saw small children around my age. I emerged from the tunnel and approached them. I recall seeing 2 boys and a little girl dressed in elegant clothes. I vividly remember the girl. She had golden blonde hair tied with a blue ribbon and wore a white summer dress decorated with blue flowers. She had shiny black leather shoes and matching socks. She looked at me and said, "Come play with us." The voices of the children were incredibly soothing, soft and peaceful. They were playing happily, surrounded by animals. Everything was delightful. There was nothing negative or frightening. I wanted to join the children and play, but I was told, "You cannot go there." Then the girl said, "Take one of these puppies." I reached out to hold a puppy, and immediately I felt an overwhelming sense of joy and happiness. Then suddenly I was back in the hospital. When I opened my eyes, there was a sheet covering my head. I heard people talking nearby. I moved my hand, pulled off the sheet, and called out, "Where's my mom? Where's my dad?" The doctor and nurse were shocked and screamed in surprise. That was the end of my first experience. I was only 5 years old, too young to understand what had happened. I didn't see God, Jesus, or anything like that, only those small children. There were other figures like dots of light in the distance, but I couldn't see them clearly. I just knew they were there. There was nothing negative or evil. It all felt wonderful. This was my first experience, and no one asked me much about it. But I remember it as if it happened yesterday. The second time I experienced a journey beyond death, I was 16 or 17 years old. I was preparing to attend a graduation party when I fell ill. I started feeling stomach pains and had a fever. My father tried to treat me with an antacid, but my condition didn't improve and my fever began to rise. He decided to take me to the doctor. The doctor, Dr. Casella, was an older physician in a rural area. He looked at me and said, "Take him to the hospital immediately. He has appendicitis." My skin had started turning yellow as if my liver had stopped functioning. They took me to the hospital and I lay in bed waiting for surgery. After a while, the pain vanished. I thought to myself, well, now I can go to the graduation party. I feel fine. I told the doctor I was feeling better and wanted to leave, but he told me to wait a bit. The doctor left and then a nurse came to tell me, "You can't leave, your appendix has burst. We need to perform emergency surgery before you develop sepsis. They placed me on a stretcher and I lost consciousness. During that time, I saw an incredibly bright light that engulfed everything. The light was intense but not painful to the eyes. It was pure and white. I felt as though I was walking in a certain direction, surrounded by people on both sides who spoke to me, reassured me, and told me everything would be all right. The voices were familiar and exceptionally kind. Later, some spiritual mediums suggested these voices might have been from my guardian angels. As I walked, images began to appear before me. I saw people talking, smiling, laughing, and greeting me as I passed. The guardian angels accompanying me guided me through this journey. Then a woman approached me. She seemed to be in her 50s, with her hair styled in a way reminiscent of the 1930s or 1940s. She wore a white gown and a necklace with a pendant featuring a blue stone. She came closer and said, "Hello, Ray. How are you?" I replied, "I'm fine. This is a beautiful place, isn't it?" She said, "Yes, it's very beautiful indeed. I'm Rose, your grandmother, your mother's mother." I said, "That's amazing. I'm so happy to meet you. I've never met you before because I was born after you passed away." She replied, "Yes, that's true, and I'm so very happy to see you." It was a remarkable conversation with a grandmother I had never seen and knew very little about. Then she said to me, "Listen, my dear, you cannot stay here. There are other things you need to do. So please tell your mother that you met me, send her my regards, and let her know that everything is fine. Also tell her that Tommy is okay." I replied, "I will," and at that moment I returned and woke up in the recovery room. Later, they told me that my heart had stopped during the surgery, but they managed to resuscitate me and complete the procedure. I stayed in the hospital for 2 weeks because my condition was critical, with several tubes placed in my body. Then I spent another 2 weeks recovering at home. During that time, my mother asked me, "Did anything strange or unusual happen in the hospital?" I asked her why. She explained, "When you were unconscious, you kept repeating the name Rose over and over." I said, "Yes, I met a lady who told me she was your mother. Her name was Rose." When I described her appearance and mentioned the necklace with a blue stone, my mother looked astonished. Then I said, "She asked me to tell you that everything is fine and that Tommy is okay." My mother looked like she was about to faint. She stared at me, mouth agape, and said, "That's true. Your grandmother had a necklace with a blue stone." She quickly got up, ran upstairs, and brought me the necklace. It was the exact same one I had seen, the one Rose had shown me. She had given it to my mother before she passed away. Then I asked her, "Who is Tommy?" She replied, "He's your brother." I said, "What brother?" She explained that I had a brother who passed away before I was born. Since my childhood, strange things have been happening. I would hear voices and feel like our house was inhabited by ghosts. These phenomena intensified after my second experience. I want to tell you that I never felt afraid of death. Death is just a word, perhaps one with a greater meaning for those facing terminal illnesses. We shouldn't worry about their passing because there is life after life, and it's a more beautiful and joyful life. Death is not something to fear. There are things in life far more frightening and harsh than death. I believe that all of this helped me become open to everything and more aware of the nature of the other world and what awaits us there. Don't carry feelings of sorrow with you, as sadness doesn't exist there. However, there is a sense of regret for things that could have been done better. It felt like being in a bubble of happiness, joy, and love. It was such a beautiful feeling. I hope what I've shared helps others who are preoccupied with this subject. All I can say is, live your life the best way you can, and with a little luck, you'll have a beautiful life waiting for you after this one.